This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So yeah, let's get started without any further ado. Today we'll be attacking another system, which is the Metasploitable instead. Okay. Now this Metasploitable, we'll be not using the Nessus scan for this. Today I'm going to show you without the report. Okay. So what if you didn't have the report, and then if you wanted to find the vulnerabilities on it? So again, you will go with the manual procedure for that. So once you get the IP, you go with basic scanning first, Nmap. So you open up your terminal, and in your Nmap you run the network scan, the port scan, the TCP scan, the UDP scan, the version scan, all that we learned in the earlier sessions. So if you type nmap-s capital S for syn scan, and if you give the target IP 192.168.0.6, this shows you what TCP ports are open. Once you know what TCP ports are open, in order to get the information regarding those TCP ports, you can run a version scan as well, SV for version scan, and the target IP. Now, just like you run the TCP scan, you have to run UDP scan as well. Okay, but again, UDP takes a while, so I won't be performing that today. But again, in real time, you would perform both TCP and UDP together. Okay. So now, once you get information on what services are running with what exact versions, now you just manually search for vulnerabilities on each of these versions. Okay, so I'll copy this version now first. I'll go to my browser, and in my browser now, I'm going to start searching for exploits or vulnerabilities on this. So I can give the same keyword VSFTPD 2.3.4, and I can search for exploits. Now, since this is an intentionally vulnerable system, we have got the vulnerability for the first service itself. You can see for that exact 2.3.4 version, there's a backdoor command execution exploit available. Okay, but in real time, you might not get it for the first one itself. You would have to do a trial and error method for each and every single service run here. Okay. If I show you one more example, this Apache service running on 2.2.8. If I copy that, if I go back to my browser and if I search for exploits, you can see there are exploits available for that as well. So if I go to CVE details, it exactly shows me how many vulnerabilities are available for that exact version. Okay. So if I click on CVSS core 9, you can see I've got a lot of vulnerabilities on that version of Apache. Okay. Now, since you know that there are services vulnerable on this device, we're going to start up our Metasploit framework now. So before that, if I remember, there was an exploit available for VSFTPD 2.3.4. To check if this exploit is available in my system or not, I can run the similar command search exploit. Okay, so search exploit VSFTPD, and you can see for that exact version 2.3.4, we have the backdoor command execution exploit, the same one which is available in the browser here. We have this in our system. Now, once we know that this is available in our system and our device, we're going to start the Metasploit framework. Service post GRE SQL start. Command 1 to start the database containing the exploits and payloads. Then you run the next command MSF console to start the same framework, Metasploit framework. Okay, so again, please note, these are all the same commands which I've shown in the last class. No difference at all. So if I go back to my notepad file here, pen testing notes. So if you notice over here, the first command we ran in the last session was service. I ran that command just now. After that, I ran MSF console. Now, next command to run is search, and you specify the keyword. In the last class, we used the keyword MS17010. Here, this is not the keyword to use today. We're going to use a different keyword, which is which is VSFTPD. So this is the exploit you're looking for, VSFTPD 2.3.4. So I'll use this keyword today. So I'll type search VSFTPD, and you can see the exploits available. So there's one for 2.3.2 denial of service, and there's one 2.3.4 backdoor command execution. What we are looking specifically for is this one, 2.3.4 backdoor command execution. So I'll copy the exploit path, and the next thing to do is use that exploit. So if I go back to my notepad file, we use the exploit now. So I'll type use and the path. Okay. Once you're within the exploit, what do you do next? You search for payloads. So you type show payloads. Okay, so I go back to my terminal, type show payloads, and for this one you can see there's only one payload available, a payload to interact and give you command prompt access. So I'll copy this entire payload, And to use the payload now, I'll type the command set payload and the path for it. Okay, so I'll type set payload and the path. So if you notice, exactly same commands, no difference at all. The only thing that is changing here is what exploit you're using and what payload you're setting. Other than that, every other command is the same exact procedure, no difference. Okay. Once you have set the payload, next command is show options to verify what options are available, and you have to configure those options. So for the exploit here, the two important required options are rhost and rport. We're going to specify those. And for payload, there are no options at all. It is automatically selecting the port and attacking on it. So we just need to specify the target IP. So I have to set rhost here as my target IP, which is 192.168.0.6. Okay, so that is the IP for the Metasploitable system here. Once everything is configured properly, one last time to verify, I can run show options, and you can see our host is configured, our port is configured. Last command to run is exploit, nothing else. Now when you hit enter, this should attack the target system and give you remote command prompt or remote backdoor connection. As you can see, it says found shell, and now it says command shell session 1 has opened up. And now once it's open, I can run the command, let's say u namespace -a to get the OS details, and you can see now it shows Linux Metasploitable. Even though I'm in the Kali system, I've got a remote connection to the Metasploitable system in this terminal now. Okay, if I run who am I, you can see I'm logged in as root. So in this system, although I don't have root access here, I'm logged in as a secondary user MSF admin. Remotely now, I've got root user access. So I've escalated my privileges to the admin account. If I type pwd, it shows me where I'm located, ls space -l. I can see all the files on the target system. So this is what it showed here. Okay, so if you notice, this is the backdoor command execution exploit. So remotely now I'm able to execute any command of my choice through a backdoor on this vulnerable service, VSFTPD 2.3.4. Okay, so what we've done today is without the report, guys. We didn't use the Nessus anywhere. We just searched for services manually. We checked which services are, again, we checked the version details of each service. And with each of those version details, we went to the internet and found vulnerabilities manually. And once we did find one, we used it in the Metasploit framework to attack on it. Same exact procedure. There's no difference at all. The only thing that is changing, as mentioned, is what exploit you're using and what payload you're setting up. Other than that, no difference at all. Okay. Is that clear? Ben, Charles, hi Wahab. Can you hear me? I guess you're slightly a bit late.
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. Any questions or doubts in the earlier sessions, Wahab?
No.
Yeah, I have a question. Sure. Before you go on, so
Yes.
with the first one that we did, the one that we had to attack the Windows. So even though the firewall was on, I realized something that my Windows went off, like it restarted. The whole Windows restarted. Is that also an option?
No, again, when you run the Windows system for the first time, it usually restarts once, Charles. It shouldn't repeat again. It won't repeat now again.
Okay, so when you try attacking it, it should after restarting, it shouldn't do that again, right?
It shouldn't do that again.
Okay, all right.
Right. So yeah, again, this is method 2, guys. There's one more method called social engineering pen testing. Now this involves the other module called MSF Venom. Okay, but we'll not be covering it today, guys. I had to rush to office today on an urgent matter, so I'm taking a slightly shorter session today. But again, in the next session, we're going to talk about MSF Venom, where we learn how do you generate Trojans using MSF console. So MSF Venom is a module which is used for social engineering pen testing. What I mean by social engineering is you're not finding vulnerabilities anymore. You're making the target intentionally vulnerable by installing a Trojan on it. So this is not a method that is followed by ethical hackers or penetration testers, but actually followed by black hat hackers. Okay, sending malwares to a system and then getting a remote connection through those malwares, especially Trojans. So we're going to perform a similar Trojan attack to Beast Trojan, what we learned in the earlier sessions. Okay, but this Trojan will be built by Metasploit framework. Okay, it's an MSF Venom Trojan. Okay, so there's a specific syntax for this Trojan. Everything is command line based. So you will be creating the Trojan through the command line, and you'll be getting the remote connection as well through the command line itself. Okay, so in the next session, we're going to learn how do you perform Trojan connections using MSF Venom. So this will be the last module, and again, network pen testing. Okay. So again, what we have learned in today's class is how do you perform penetration testing without the report. In the last class, we did it with the report. From the report, we found the Windows vulnerability and we attacked on that. Today, without the report, we attacked the Metasploitable system. How did we do that? We scanned for the open ports, we ran again, we enumerated the services, got information about each service, and then we tried searching online for every vulnerability on each of those services. And once we did find a vulnerability, we used it in the Metasploit framework to attack on it. That's what we learned in today's class. Method 2. Okay. So yeah, nothing further, guys. Again, as mentioned, I'm sorry about the shorter session today. Had to leave to work on an urgent matter. But yeah, we'll be taking up a session tomorrow at the same time where we'll talk about MSF Venom. We'll complete the network pen testing part. Okay. Any questions, any doubts before we exit the session? Again, we're coming to the end of the course, guys. Hardly, I suppose, 3 classes more left. So we'll be done in this week without fail. So again, if you have any questions once you're practicing, do let me know so that we can clarify within our course duration. Even if you do practice after the course as well, you can still contact me. But again, it's better since we are running the classes right now, we have more time to connect with each other. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Please do practice these sessions on your systems. These sessions are quite important. These are the same things that you run in an organization as well in the exact same manner. Okay, the Nessus tool, the Metasploit framework, these are the same exact tools used in organizations in real time. Okay, to perform penetration testing. So very important, I would say. Okay. Any questions? Ben, Charles, Wahab? Oh, okay. Assuming no questions, let's exit the session here and connect back tomorrow at the same time where we take up a slightly longer session to talk about MSF Venom. Bye bye.